Alright, for those of you guys smart enough to find your way to this video, it's going to help you find the equation for the line of best fit. We can see here on this scatter plot that we have down, it could be representative of I guess you could say mistakes made, I don't know, on a math test. I guess the shorter you take, the more mistakes you make. The longer you take, it looks like the fewer mistakes you make. That's a negative correlation. I would say it's a weak negative correlation based on the fact that this data set is loosely put together here. One thing that I did down here, I didn't want to do all my numbers all the way out. I don't recommend doing that, but I needed some space to work over here, so I did the little squiggly line, but kept going in the pattern that's down here. I know it's really hard to read these numbers, but I will give you the coordinates that we pick. Speaking of which, it's probably about that time to be thinking about picking some coordinates here. And looking at my data here, I'm going to pick one towards this end of the spectrum, so I'll just go ahead and select this one here. And I need to pick something towards this end of the spectrum, and I'm going to pick this one here. Alright, I'm going to connect those 2 points with a line. Make that line blue. And even though this isn't the trend line I'd want to see, if this is the trend line I want to see, I would want to see a few more dots on this side to even things out, because it seems like all my dots are below the line. So this is what I'm going to do to make this a better trend line, because if I had done that as my original trend line, I don't think I would have liked it too much because there were too many values below it. I would have probably picked 2 new points. But now this looks like a better trend line that's going to fit our data set a little bit better. Okay, let's assign these 2 coordinates some values. Up here I'm going to, whoops, don't want line function anymore. We're going to assign this one the value, x value first, 278. So we got 278. And down here, obviously that's right under 16. We're going to go 16 and 22. Okay, with 2 points, we should all know by now the only thing we can do with those is find their slope. So again, slope masters love this because this is something that we're really good at. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And by now you should know that I'm just going to label mine up x1 and y1, and this one's going to be an x2 with the y2. All I got to do is plug in my numbers to that formula. That's why I had you guys memorize it. Hopefully you are committing it to memory now if you didn't before. We got y2, which is 22, minus y1, which is 78. And on the bottom, we're going to have a 16 minus 2. Up top, if I really need to, I can change that subtraction sign into an addition sign, but the 78 would then become negative, and then we got same signs add them up, different signs subtract. Different signs subtract, it would be 78 minus 22, which is 56. And because the larger number is a negative, we're going to keep the sign of the larger number and then we'll be exact. So we got negative 56 up top. Hopefully we don't need to use that same strategy down here. We can do 16 minus 2 in our heads and come up with 14. I know that 14 goes into 56 4 times evenly. So this reduces to negative 4. Does this make sense with my line of best fit? It sure does. That's a negative slope line because it's going downhill. So now what I must do is take my slope and use point slope form, which is written y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And I actually might use this one that was x2 y2 for my x1 y1 term in point slope form, because these are better numbers, at least in my opinion, 16 and 22, than doing something that's got 78 in it. So it's up to you. You can decide. Remember, if you are subbing in this number, it is only a 2, so it's not that big of a deal. And in reality, 16 times negative 4 is harder than negative 4 times 2, so I probably would have been better off just keeping it the same. But I'll go with my choice now and plug in all the values I have here. Y minus, and now y2 for me is becoming y1. So I'm going to say y minus 22 equals negative 4 times x minus 16. Okay? And once you've plugged it in, your first thought should be distribution, which most of you guys are thinking that anyway, so good for you. And once we distribute, we didn't need to distribute anything on the left-hand side. I'm going to get rid of those parentheses. Y minus 22 equals negative 4x. And this is like negative times negative, so I'm going to make it a positive. 4 times 16 is 64. Again, I've done my math for a really long time. I've practiced. If you practice, you'll get to do that in your head as well. I would suggest doing some side math. And the last step I have to do here is add the 22 to both sides. Add the 22 and add the 22. My final answer is going to be y equals negative 4x. Same signs, add them up, different signs subtract. They're the same signs, plus 86. Hopefully you found this video helpful. I'm going to try and make sure that the values you guys see on the scatter plot on the quiz give you a nice equation in the end for your line of best fit like this one did. Hope you enjoyed the video. Good luck on the quiz.